Change your mind, change your money, change your life. I am Coach Rob Lee Simmons, the host of this podcast, and let me be your tour guide to greatness. If I was doing any better, I would be you. Welcome to the Greatness Academy podcast. I am here with my man, MJ Mott. He is a real estate investor. He is an entrepreneur and he's a project manager. So we're going to talk real estate today, man. How you doing, my man? Welcome to the show. I'm glad I was finally able to catch you. Even on the move.
No, like I said before, man, hey, I fully plan to be sitting behind my desk, look background up, looking cool, like I'm, a suave and debonair CEO of some company. But no,
Right.
This is the reality of being a project manager, dog. I'm closing windows.
I
Drive
love it.
around closing windows because it rains.
So tell me a little bit like the day in life of a project manager. I know everything is different day to day, but what can you expect out of your daily grind?
So my days are kind of based on my schedule and what jobs I got that's going on at the current time. And I like to give myself a couple days between jobs because I still got to do sales and marketing. I got to go visit folks, shake hands, and get babies and stuff.
Right.
But for the most part, depending on what jobs I got coming up, I'm up, probably 5:30. I got my guys need to be on site around 7:30. Make sure that they get to work, and then I'm off the next, check the next job. And it's just depending on the job. I got a little list of checklist things that I should be checking. But to tell you the truth, I'm not no carpenter. I'm just familiar with the code book, and the thing I don't really need to be a carpenter. I just need to know what they need to be doing.
Exactly.
And so I spend most of my day just checking behind people, making sure they're doing the right stuff. If I estimate it right, I would have the right material. But a lot of times, there's some stuff you don't see. So I got to go pick up a lot of materials and stuff. That's why I got this old raggedy truck,
Right.
go pick up material, But yeah, that's the majority of my day.
So how did you get into project management, and then what was your transition? What did it look like coming from the military into this world?
Well, man, I'm gonna tell you a surprise. I spent about 5 years locked up after I got out the military. And coming into this was by necessity. I actually started out of real estate. I was wholesaling real estate.
Nice.
And then I moved on after I saw that what them guys were doing. Like, man, I think I could probably accomplish that, no problem. But I started thinking about how to get into that portion of it. Required me to become a contractor. And so I started doing some handyman jobs here and there, and mixing that in with real estate. Basically just offer my services. Like, hey, if I'm coming to buy your property, something wrong with it, hey, I'll patch it up. We're gonna make sure we get it sold. And that turned into a full-blown business. And I started flipping properties with the money I made off of that. And from flipping, kind of got into new construction, which is a whole new level of headaches. But like I said, it kind of one thing led to another, and I just stayed on that same stair rail, going up the same stairs, I would say.
Yeah.
Another problem I have all the time. See this shit?
Yeah.
Never know what keys go to what. Now, I should have them labeled because we did that in the military all the time. We labeled every key. Right. No, don't do it. I like to stand here for 5-10 minutes trying to figure out what key going what door.
Is it like the guess? That reminds me of my father, man. My father would have 1,000 keys because he had 8 cars and 46 doors. And every time he went to the front of his house, he would always have these giant keys, and we'd be sitting there for like 5 minutes before every time, like never fails. That I'm like, Dad, it's been 20 years. Just put the damn H on the key.
Yeah. That would make sense. That would make sense. But somehow I always find myself busy doing other things besides the things that will make my life easier.
Right. But
that's
just in the busyness of it, though. So what are some key skills and qualities that you would be essential to do what you do? Like, what are some of the maybe top 5 things that you've learned that, hey, this is a necessity for me to have this skill, be successful at what I do?
I would say being a leader, man. Just being able to make decisions and strategize when everybody else around you is kind of just, they're saying what they're gonna do. You really got to get out there and actually do it, and don't be scared to fail, because every project I get on, it's a series of failures until we get to the end. And I believe your ability to get through that, it's training. You know, the entire time you're being trained to make better decisions on your next project. And so you just got to kind of get in there and do it. Be humble. Learn where you can. YouTube University taught me a lot. You know, Propelio Academy is another great resource for people trying to be real estate investors. That's a free plug right there.
Yeah,
it's completely free, and that's like an entire education on the beginnings and kind of advanced real estate investing. I took it like a college course.
nice.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you feel like is probably the best asset that you have that makes you succeed in what you do?
The best asset I have, I think the ability just to move through most crowds, and like I don't get shy. I'm kind of an introvert, but I'm not shy. When I need something done, I'm just straightforward. I come in and, hey, I need to get this done. I don't know how to do it. Can you help me? You know, I
Yeah.
mean, I'm
Never
just
be afraid to
legit with it
ask for
all,
help.
you know.
Yeah.
Just stay humble, you know, because a lot of people been doing a lot of this work 30, 40 years. Carpenters been doing this for a very long time, but they never can get the business side of it right. And so I study that. I do study that religiously, at least the regulations involved with what I'm doing. And I see that helps out a lot too.
So let me ask you, like, what are some of the biggest challenges of the career field? Like what are some of the biggest challenges that you face, like, on a daily basis?
Dealing with people that aren't professional.
Mm.
And by professional, I'm not saying how they act, but how they conduct their business. Because you got several people that say, I got anybody can come out here and build me a deck, but it's not a whole lot of people I can come to and I say, hey, give me a bid for bidding on that deck. I need the labor and materials separated. And I also want to know how much you're charging for management and what the approximate cost would be. Can you put that all on paper and get it to me by tomorrow? You know,
Right.
so that doesn't occur. That's why a lot of these people haven't gone on further in their business, because they don't handle that side of it. But me coming to them and telling, hey, this is what I need. And so I kind of train the people that I deal with to do that. And it makes my life a lot easier, and it makes them a lot more money.
Right. I think that's like the biggest hole in business and entrepreneurship is the ability to provide timeliness in your service, right?
Mm-hmm.
And be able to project, hey, how long something is going to take, what time are we
Mm-hmm.
going to meet, to be on time for the meeting. I think is really the difference between boom or bust in a business is simply managing your time.
When they say time is money, literally in real estate, time is always money. I'm sitting right now paying. Man, we probably drive by the duplex you just finished too.
Nice.
Paying about $1,800 a month on a property that don't have nothing in it. It's completely finished property, no tenants in it yet, and so it just costing me to sit there.
Yeah.
And the longer I took to build it, and the longer it took for the city to give me my certificate of occupancy, I was paying money, literally.
Right.
So yeah, you get stuck in situations like that. You know, I had to actually fire one of my general contractors just because the guy he was not being observant of the schedule. You know, because if he don't get his part done, there's other people that come behind him that needed him to be done. That now we got to back them up. It just causes a complete mess.
Right.
And you know, so you got to be real tight with the time, even to the point of firing somebody, you know, that you may want to work with.
So what I want you to do is tell me the story of your worst project nightmare.
Oh man, that's a long story actually.
I want to hear it. We got time.
This was when I initially started all this stuff. I was still just wholesaling, and I got in one deal. It was a 5-property deal. You know, all of them bad back taxes. You know, the back taxes was kind of more than the value of them at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, well, really the only way for me to get in here, I got to do some creative financing. The contracts was nuts. I had the people basically guarantee that I could buy these properties at the value of the taxes if I paid for one cash, you know.
Right.
And so I did that. And then one of the properties was in decent shape. Well, when I say decent shape, meaning that most of it was still standing up, you know.
Right.
Gutted it and flipped it. And I had to deal with one of my other contractors. I'll pay you half now, pay the other half when it's done. Total of 30 G's. The end value should have been 80 something. Going through this process, we figured out that the land under that property did not belong to the person that sold me the property, the land. You know, now this wasn't no mobile home either.
Yeah.
This was a house They've been sitting there for at least since the 60s. The situation was that that property was owned by the same person, and they ended up having their house built in their backyard, and it was on an adjacent street, so it had a different address.
Right.
And they just put a fence up, and they say, okay, this is your yard, this is your yard. Nobody cares. You know, the guy that owned the other property was like, man, I've been wondering why my taxes been so high all this time. Like, cause you're paying for this full lot, you know. And so that could have been a very costly problem if I wouldn't have just went to him and be like, hey man, I'm just do a free survey. I'm gonna survey yours too. And I just need you to go ahead and sign off that I can partition this where the fence is at.
Right.
No problem. We sat there, we ate at the barbecue spot, we signed all the paperwork, we was in and out, man. No problem.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
That's not the end of the story though.
Oh Lord, not beautiful.
It gets better.
Okay.
So we got to the end of the flip, and I'm trying to go ahead and put a mortgage on this property. I was going to keep it for a rental. The property was worth about, I don't know, about $95,000, and I only needed about 50 to get there, make my money back, make my 20 G's, and be on my way, and get rent after that. But I found out the hard way that, you know what, companies don't like to give little mortgages. You know, they say you only need 50. That's too small. Like it doesn't meet the right parameters for FHA. We won't really make no money on it. They're not gonna get behind it.
Right.
And so I'm saying that like that makes no sense. Like I had decent credit at the time, and y'all won't give me a mortgage, and because I don't want to get the full mortgage. You know, I don't want to put 95 on it if I don't have to.
Right.
You know, so I ended up selling the property. Because it was a whole issue with title and the taxes and all that. I had to learn a lot about title. That was just a big nightmare. All ended out well, sold it, but I learned a lot. That was a university and being a project manager and a real estate investor.
No, that's super dope, right? Because I heard a lot of nuggets in there that really transitions businesses, and I think the biggest one is in your ability to negotiate, providing value, right? Because you went to Buddy House and was like, hey, look, I'll do all the work. You know, I'll slice it right here. We'll go sit down, eat, and all I need you to do is sign this paper. Right. So
I had to sell them the value on that free getting it appraised, not appraised.
The survey.
Evaluated.
Yeah.
The survey, there you go.
Yeah.
Word.
Yeah, and that's big though, because not only did he save money in that survey, he also saved on his taxes because his taxes went down because now he's not paying for that full land of property. So that was a lot of value provided, but it's also value to you. So sometimes you got to give up something to get something. That was pretty dope.
But he could have easily say like, hey man, you know, that's land, you got to buy it, man. Let me get about 8 G's for that, you know.
Right.
And it wouldn't have been a bad, you know, because that's about how much it was worth.
Right.
But you know, it didn't come up in the conversation, and I wasn't about to insert that idea.
I got you. I know it. I know it.
Yeah.
Hey, so let's talk about kind of the conception of your business. So, like financially, how much did it cost you to kind of get into the market?
Okay, so there's people that say that you can do this without money, and it's possible. Wholesaling and all that. It's just hard as hell, man. You got to do a lot of marketing, like old school marketing. Even then, that costs money. You got to go buy posters and stuff, put all that stuff up, make a lot of calls. It's gonna cost you time or money. And if you got money, it's a lot easier. But at that time, I didn't have a lot of money. I only had about 30 G's to start my whole company off with. I actually dissolved my IRA and took that hit, and you know, bought a lot of things to get rolling, and to do that first flip.
Right.
But yeah, that's it, man. I would say it costs a good little penny to get in the flip, man. You got to have about 20 G's and the credit score of around at least 620, and they want to see that you have experience doing it. So that's kind of the problem that get a lot of people jacked up, is they don't have the experience. And so a lot of times you need to do a JV, a joint venture with somebody else that's doing it already, that got that experience, to take them in for that experience part. Right. And you can do that with any portion of it, like the credit. If you got bad credit, partner up with somebody that got good credit. You ain't got no money, but you got plenty of time, partner up with somebody that got a lot of money and don't have a lot of time. You know, it's finding those people that can fit in that puzzle where you need them to get the end goal.
Yeah, and that kind of leads into my next question. Like, how do you approach networking and building relationships in the industry?
Man, do good work, tell the truth, be honest with people, help people. I mean, because I'm not no marketing expert. I try to be real.
Right.
If I got a deal and I'm telling, hey, it's a good deal, they gonna believe me because I'm the kind of person I say I told you so. I work
Right.
with a guy. I work with a couple of guys, investors, and I tell them, hey, that's a good deal, man. You need to buy that one. I don't want it. I want to look for the unicorn or whatever, right? They don't buy it. I sell it to somebody else. Damn good deal. They made shit ton of money. Oh man, why you did? I told you so. Next time when I come tell you, listen to what I got to say, man. But yeah, that's it, man. Just be real, be honest. Don't try to get on here and pretend you Grant Cardone when you like me. Like, dog, I got a few properties. I'm doing a little bit here and there, but I'm driving around closing windows.
Right. Right.
Yeah, this is my job.
Do you ever in the future look to like outsource some of the work that you're doing now, like kind of continues like be more hands off, or is this one of the parts of the job you enjoy?
That's the ultimate goal. Really, I only want to deal with the part where I go in and close the deal. And I'm not even no great salesman. I just like talking to people and I like looking at architecture. I kind of like visualizing that portion where you go see the house and you see it in its current state, and you kind of just sit there and think on it a little while, live with it for a little bit, and imagine what it can be. And then the rest of that is execution. If you can make that dream come to this world through, the process. So I still want to stick with that. But as far as all this other stuff, yeah, I definitely have a property manager, somebody driving around closing windows, so I wouldn't have to be bothered with.
you would love that, yeah. Some people just enjoy what they do. Some people, that 15-20 minute inconvenient ride is like, an oasis for them. But you said that ain't you getting it done.
Man, because there's other things I could be doing right now that could make me a lot more money.
Oh, for sure. What are some of the common pitfalls that happen in real estate, or that you see often with other entrepreneurs, and or like what would you tell them to avoid in this particular career?
Man, the waters are full of sharks in real estate. I ain't gonna lie to you. There's a lot of these gurus going around here charging people 20, 30 G's to do what they can do for free. It's hard. I mean, I don't know how to say what specific ones to avoid, but getting too anxious and trying to do something too fast, you got to take your time and really get to know what you're doing. If you're gonna fail, do it small. Don't blow your wad, at the beginning.
That's good. That's really good.
Yeah. Just take your time. Cause my whole idea was to get in and start building apartments and all that. I haven't done apartments yet. Just do some small multifamily, whatever. But I'm taking my time, and I'm treating this as if this is college for me. I'm just getting paid to go.
Right.
But I'm always learning, man. Just take your time, get with somebody that done it before you, because you don't have to, sit here and figure all this stuff out. It has been done before, and if it was successful for somebody else, it should work for you if the market conditions are the same.
Oh, that's good. So let me ask you, everybody has their markets and their trends in the markets. What are some trending things that are developing in real estate, or what are some trends that you're riding right now in project management and real estate?
The trends right now I see is that interest rates should be coming down again, I believe. Prices are kind of easing back a little bit. They still up there, so it's still cool if you're trying to flip. It's not so bad of a time to do so. Just harder for people to get mortgages. So you got to kind of look at what you're flipping and who what your target demographic is that's going to buy it. Can they afford it? And I ain't gonna lie, like most of my target demographic is normally these hood properties. It's going to be lower middle class. And I think that this affects them a lot harder as far as getting the proper mortgage or whatever for that to be able to purchase the property.
Right.
But as far as trends, let me see what else we got going on right now. Like I say, I'm hyper local, so in this location, it's a soft gentrification going on. We got a lot of new homes being built, and they're not. I say a soft gentrification because they're not displacing people. So we building properties out here that are affordable, but they just new, you know. And so you're making the area look better, but you're not pushing people out, you know, not pushing up the tax bracket too high to where, you know, people can't afford, you know, they already own their property, can't afford to stay there.
Right.
So that's a trend that I'm noticing here in my location, which, you know, Southeast Texas. But overall, I think, yeah, interest rates are just they kind of drive what's going on with it. When I believe your interest rates gets too high, I kind of switch my gears and go away from flipping, get more into contracting. Because, you know, people need to get work done regardless. Try to go for the people that are earning steady money, companies that commercial properties and stuff like that. You know, it don't affect them that much. They still got to get stuff done as part of their process. They can't deal with deferred maintenance. So I kind of pander to them when this kind of conditions exist.
That's good. That's good. I think that again just kind of goes back to being able to, regardless of what the market looks like, to provide some value, because at the end of the day, you gonna make some money as long as you're able to provide some value. And even if it ain't money up front, right? Over time, it'll develop into some money, because everybody gonna be like, hey, I know somebody that's gonna do a good job.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Optimistically, I'm trying to build an ecosystem down here. And I know this is me dreaming big, but I really want to recreate kind of like the Black Wall Street down here. Starting with trade classes, having a school, and having that school build on itself, possibly linking up with somebody trying to get a credit union started, you know, to help us fund this thing. I hate to ask people stuff, you know, I'd rather just go ahead and do it myself.
Right.
So making the right connections with those people, and maybe, you know, doing something like that. That's 5 years, though. I'm giving myself a lot of time.
Yeah. Me and my wife just had the conversation yesterday, and I, you know me, you're not gonna get much from me until you see it. So I'm gonna tell you where we at though. So we started having this conversation about building ecosystems, and I was just looking at, you know, really how to develop it, and then what are some of the main sources that are needed. And I mean, everything starts with land. I'll probably leave it there, but everything starts with land. So you can find a good plot of land or something that's built and close to the water, you gonna be onto something.
Okay, yeah.
As long as you got a water source, sky's the limit.
Oh, you talking about going off the grid, huh?
Yeah.
That's something that's a dream of mine since had been like at least 2003. I started thinking about that, going off the grid and doing my own thing. But it seems like right now I need to build a much bigger stash of capital before I try to get off into that. It's unless I want to take forever to do it, you know, it's gonna take a lot of capital.
Yeah, for sure. And I would tell you this though, right? So just kind of like part of, you know, my profession as a financial professional, like a lot of times I do estate planning by, you know, starting backwards, right? So what does that number look like for you? Like, what could I really realistically do with X amount of dollars per year, and then look at that number to say with X amount of dollars a year, what's the projection of how long I'm going to live, right? So does that look like 30 years, 40 years? So can I live off $100,000 every year for 40 years? Boom. Now, once I understand that, now I can start doing math, and then I can start moving and investing the way I want to, because now I have a plan. So I would definitely say, yeah, you can have a stash of cash, but you would be mind blown to do the math first and then know what your goal is. So I'll tell you mine, right? So I've been working off this concept of being able to support yourself off of 20% of what you earn and save the other 80%. That way you can retire in 6 years. Why? Because if you do the math of 80% of what you saved up over 6 years, means that you can live off of that money for 30 years, right? So if you find your number, right? Now you know what you, and now you just, if that number is, you know, like for me, it is $100,000. I can, with my big ass family, I can live off $100,000 a year. Therefore, my goal is to make $500,000 a year for 6 years, and then I can retire, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So
Like
that,
that. I like
yeah,
that.
just, yeah. Once you find your number, sky's the limit, brother.
Make the plan after that, huh?
Yep, that's it. You can take it after that, and then you can start looking at bigger projects. You can start focusing on smaller projects. But that made me realize, hey, it's time to focus on some bigger projects, because where I'm at ain't $500,000, and so
No.
yeah, so I know how to get there, right? So, but really, it's just all about attacking my goals, because I don't want to be a dreamer. I don't want to be a dreamer, man. That's my biggest thing.
Oh yeah. And I got a restlessness I feel about you know, the way things are going. Like I definitely want to get that done. And for the longest, I mean, you know, I was in financial management back in the day when I was in the military too. I used to get those briefings, the debt briefings. You know, people come in, they can't pay the debt, whatever. We gotta teach them how to budget, whatever. And you'd be surprised how many people they making decent money, they just not keeping. You know.
Right.
And that's profound. You actually put a number to it, the 80-20. Like that makes sense. You know, if you live off 20%. And I think I'm kind of doing it anyway. Like I live like a Spartan. You know, like I said, no AC in my truck. You know, like I got dollars that got other people's names on it, so I can't spend it. You know,
right,
so,
right.
But yeah,
and then that's the thing, man. That like the footprint, or the blueprint is already there, right? You already know how, because that is project management. Hey, I got to take this pot of money, I got to split it. I can't even really keep all of it. I can eat decently, right? But now, I got to build more. I got to build more to make more, right? But once you start to figure out what that number is, then you start to really understand yes and no in the projects that you start to take on, because hey, this is going to get me closer. This one, if I got to put more money into this, is going to take me farther away from my number. Yeah. So, no, I believe it, man. So let me ask you this though, like, and going through everything that you've done in your personal life and your career, what was the biggest amount of money that you spent at one time, and how did that make you feel?
You know what? It was a property actually. And it wasn't a whole. I bought it for 20 G's. And just the fact that I could whip out a check for 20 G's, man, like I felt like a big baller.
Yeah,
it's not a lot. It's not a lot, but at that point in time, even to this point in time, with my own cash, that's the largest I ever made.
Yeah, that's dope, man. I think the biggest thing about these like cash purchases is and hearing some of these amounts, and then I mean this is really recent for me, like the last 3 or 4 years I start realizing what's a lot of money, and then also started realizing that I've been undervalued for so long, and so in being able to make that purchase and understand, hell, if I can do this, I can do 200, right?
Oh yeah.
If I can do this, I can do 2 million. So it's just a different dynamic of, really doing it big. Doing it big.
It touched on the fact about, spending money to make money, and that's kind of where I put the majority of my money is in. Even if it's a long-term thing, it's long-term down the road, it's something that, I may not be able to recoup my money back in a year or so. It's a plan, that this is going to pay out eventually. It's going to pay out a lot more than I put into it.
For sure. And I think that's just one of those things that goes with your plan, right? Like you can plant a seed that may kick out your number in 6 years. You're like, hey, this is going to take 5-6 years to develop, but it's going to put me right at X. And that is definitely something worth investing into. I love it though, man. Hey, MJ, thanks for joining the show. I really appreciate it, man. Thank you for riding us around. Let us know what it looked like to be a PJ, man, project manager. I definitely wish you the best in your business, and thanks for joining us, brother.
So, man, appreciate it. Appreciate you having me on here, man. Tell the fam I said what's up.
Oh, will do. And on the show, we say that winners win. and we win when you win, and we want to thank you for being a winner, brother.
For sure, man. For sure. Thank you.
All right, and we're out. Boom. Thank you for joining the podcast. And remember, change your mind, change your money,